As you are aware that since last 4.5 years, we are doing on each Friday, 4 to 6, we are doing knowledge sharing efforts from our company side. And in the process, till today, we have got the registration of 128,000 professional directors and other people. In these programs, we have invited more than 300 panelists. These are the top shot professional of India, regulator, government officials, parliamentarian, civil servant, and industry people. Now, the efforts which we have started in 2020, it is now culminating, and then today we are here on 190th webinar. You can understand every Friday 4 to 6 p.m. without any fail, we are doing this. And shortly on 20th December 2024, we will touch the milestone of 200th webinar. Friends, today's webinar is very, very important. The topic is also recent updates in prohibition of insider trading. What is happening in SEBI laws? This is one very important topic, which is seeing the maximum changes, maximum amendments, and sometimes various interpretation and various clarification from SEBI side, from stock exchange side. And this is a dynamic process. That's why it is happening. The prohibition of insider trading play a crucial role in entire market to create a integrity and fairness. With recent amendment introduced to these regulations, it is essential for corporate market participant and compliance officer to update themselves and understand the implication of these changes and implication of this law. We recently organized a program on beneficiary. What are the impact of this PIT regulation on professional and those who are working in the company or as outside consultant, auditor. And I was surprised to see this, that various people after the webinar they have informed us that they were not aware that that is applicable to them. So friends, it is not only the company and its employee, it is applicable to the people, any person who is having a price sensitive information, whether he's acting as an independent professional, whether he's working in the company. If he has some information, this law is applicable, and SEBI will not tell you that it is applicable, so you follow the law. It is your responsibility to do this. This particular law has now slowly gaining momentum also. People are realizing also. And that's why if you see in the last 2 years, 23 to 24 and 24 to 25, we have seen the SEBI has taken and they have done investigation on in 23, 85 companies and 24, 175 companies. The front running cases, this is also part of the insider trading, that is 24, 23 in 23 and 83 in 24. So you can understand multifold it has increased. There are 55 entities penalized by adjudication officer in this, and there was a penalty of 5 crore rupees SEBI has levied. So you can understand, no doubt the penalty amount is not very high, but the number is increasing. That is important. So more and more people should understand the implication of this law. Today, this webinar, there's a very unique point. SEBI has come out one concept paper on connected person. That was a trigger point. But then we decided that let's have the recapitalization of the insider law. So what we want to discuss in this program, the amendment in 2-3 things has taken place. One is in last 2 years, last 3 years, there are some changes, and the changes has taken place in the shape of that SEBI has come out some amendments. So Mohini will discuss about these 3 amendments which has taken place. That is, one is freezing of pen, and then the implementation of timeline framework, and then the generally available information. That is these are the things which are old one, but last year or coming this 24, we have come out, the SEBI has come out 2 things. One is generally available information, and second is the trading plan. Now, on these things, we will discuss that what are the important point and how the impact analysis of these 2 changes which SEBI brought out. And then we will discuss one. NSE has issued a circular relating to shareholding pattern and SDT, which is also connected to the insider trading, that we will discuss. And then there is a consultative paper on connected person. That is a main source. We will discuss these things. And then Ravi will discuss about some judicial pronouncement which has taken place and regulatory action which SEBI has taken on the various companies. Now, for this, we have invited a combination of people. So first, I will welcome Mr. Sanjay C. Parab. He is the Chief General Manager of SEBI. He has extensive experience, and prior to role in ISD, he worked in a corporate finance department in SEBI. So he knows the concept of various aspects of listed company and their implication. I welcome Sanjay. He is joining shortly. They are a meeting, so they will join at 4:45. Then we have a Varsha Agarwal. Is a general manager of SEBI. She has a 23-year experience, and before and he's looking after integrated surveillance department in SEBI, and she has worked in various other departments also. So I welcome Varsha. They both will join at 4:45. Then we have invited industry person, those who are implementing, and we want to understand them, that what is their issues and how to come out. So I welcome Kunal is Vice President, Corporate and Company Secretary, KEI Industry. He has more than 19 years of experience, instrumental in managing capital market related activities of the company, implementation of administration of ESOP, and handling investor related initiative. I welcome Kunal for this program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
I hope your experience and your practical approach help to others people also. Then we have Mr. Saket Gupta, is a company secretary and compliance officer of Davar Limited. He has a rich and diverse experience in corporate governance, legal affairs, merger acquisition. Before Davar, he had been previously associated with renowned organizations like Inbrasta Gas, Jubilant Foodworks, and Maxcoro. And Saket is working in Davar. It's one of the biggest FMCG company. So Saket, and they have a more various subsidiary also. So experience of Saket will definitely help, and their practical approach relating to this issue, how these people are facing. Then we have, welcome Saket. Then we have Mohini Vashne, partner at ESOP and Insider Law, corporate professional. And then Ravi Prakash, associate partner, securities law and corporate litigation, corporate professional. I welcome all my learned speakers. And friends, you can understand the purposes which we are organizing always program on this twofold. One is we want to understand if some law has come, then what are the implications, okay? And second is, if law has come and SEBI is coming out with some new amendment, some new concept paper. So before we react after the law is making, we should give our suggestion today. So this is our always approach, that whenever there's a concept paper is coming, we are just providing this input to regulator. And today also the aspects of connected person, we will collect all the points of everybody and we will do this. So without taking much time, I will request Mohini to take up this matter. And after that, the program structure I have just tell you. Mohini will do the first, these are amendments, then amendments of trading plan, then generally available information issue. Then we will discuss about the connected persons concept paper. And then Ravi will discuss about recent judicial pronouncement and regulatory aspects. Before going to this program, I just want to announce, because we are continuously organizing this knowledge sharing webinar. And our next webinar is 191 webinar is Understanding Gift City, Opportunity, Benefit and Future Growth. That is the program which we want to organize. And after this program, there on this Friday, 27th September, then on 4th October, we will organize program on SME IPO. Then next Friday is holiday. And after that, on 18th October, 18th November, there is a very interesting webinar we will organize, Cyber Security and Cyber Resilience Framework for SEBI regulated entities. So all the SEBI regulated entities, how they should manage, because now everything is coming out on the digital basis. So this will helpful to everyone. So this is our future plan which we want to do. And now I will request Mohini to give a presentation. In the meantime, I'll request all participants, if you have any query, please write down in the box. And in the question answer session, I will ask from everyone. And the structure is Mohini will discuss the two amendments. And then I will take up the questions from Kishore and Saket from industry point of view. And they can tell us that if there is any practical issue to implement this, we will understand and we will try to solve this problem. If it is not possible, something is bigger, we will refer it to the regulator. Over to you, Mohini, for recent updates, SEBI prohibition. Over to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So we start with that a journey of the recent amendments since 2002. A brief, the major amendment which came in 2022 was the freezing of PAN. Freezing of PAN, I'm not going to cover it in detail. The many other amendments has also came during that period, but freezing of PAN was an important one because it eased out the compliance requirement on the part of the compliance officer. Earlier, the compliance officer has to go for a physically filing the electronically filing the disclosure of the designated person upon their trading, and also the compliance officers to take care of that the person will not trade. So the many of the complexities are there, but so to help the compliance officers and the company, and also to help the designated person that they mistakenly not go for the trading when the trading window closure period is there. So this freezing of PAN was an important change and the implementation which has helped the industry a lot. So that we will be going to cover in a very brief. And after that, recently in 2024, in May, the SEBI has made a very small amendment, although the impact is very large. That is that they have changed or they have added few words in the definition of generally available information. After that, in June 25th, 2024, the second amendment came, and that was with respect to the trading plan. So earlier, this trading plan was introduced in 2015 as a concept, but it was not so much popular. So to make it popular and practicable, so that the people can, the designated person and insider can use that particular trading plan. So in June, the SEBI has come out with a complete overall change in the trading plan concept. Then recently, the SEBI has also came out with the consultation paper on the connected person. So the connected person definition has been widened up to cover many more people in that umbrella. So one by one, we are going to take up these particular four topics. So first, we are going to take the freezing of PAN. So freezing of PAN, yes, introduced in 2022 and in a phased manner. It will be implemented in all the companies listed at the exchanges, whether it's an SME or whether it's on the main board. But basically, this trade freezing of PAN is applicable or is workable only for the quarterly results trading window closer. If because of any other corporate action, the trading window is closed for the people, the designated person, then it's not covered per se today in the freezing of PAN. Uh, so freezing of PAN, present though two points are still left with respect to the first one is the corporate action, and the second one with respect to that relatives PAN number. So nowadays, because this freezing of PAN, the PAN numbers are being taken from the system-driven disclosure. So the PAN number which the company is updating in the NSDL or CDSL, and the PAN number of the designated person, promoters, their KMPs, they are uploading, but there is no provision of per se uploading the PAN number of the relatives, because we all are aware of that. Not this trading window closure is not only applicable for the designated person, it is also extended to the relatives of the designated person. So those PAN numbers we can't enter. So this is the one of the major challenge which nowadays the companies are day by day facing. So for still the relatives, the companies have to monitor it at their own end. And so these are the main loophole. They are the main balance work which we think the exchange will come out or the SEBI will come out about these provisions. So one of the confusion which earlier in the PAN freezing was whether it will only restrict the on-market transaction or through stock exchange we can't deal. So it's very been clarified by them that when we have freezed the PAN, so it is applicable for all the things, on-market, off-market, even for the creation of pledge. So the companies wherein any pledge, because pledge is allowed during the trading window closure. So if any person is there with who wants to create a pledge, then the compliance officer has to go and has to remove the person's PAN when if the person wants to create a pledge over that. So this is with respect to the PAN freezing. Now the companies are very well doing and the process has been made very smooth in the trading window closure part. So NSDL and CDSL through CDSL, this automatic trading window closure is being done on every quarterly. This now we come to the recent amendments in the PIT, and the first one is the journally available information. So before we jump into what the journally available information is, so first we need to understand that from where this word journally available information came. So this journally available information is coming in the definition of the unpublished price sensitive information. In the unpublished price sensitive information, the definition states that it means any information relating to a company or its securities directly or indirectly that is not generally available and which upon becoming generally available is likely to materially affect the prices of the security and shall ordinarily, including but not restricted to A, B, C, D. So here the word not generally available, and here the generally available word is being used. Now, then the SEBI has given a definition of what generally available information means. So here the definition, the earlier definition we talk about. So the generally available information means an information that is accessible to the public on a non-discriminatory basis. So now the new definition, after this word of non-discriminatory basis, they have added the words and shall not include unverified event or information reported in print or electronic media. It has some link with the changes made in the market rumor policy. So here from this they have also amended in aligning that thing with the this UPSI. So they have mentioned that if the information is in the public, still it's a non-discriminatory basis, it's available. But if it is not verified by the company, then the information will be treated as a UPSI. So So in a simple word, if I say, so any information becomes generally available information only when it is verified by the company. To understand it in a very in a more to understand it more, so we take an example. I think it's easily understandable if I take this example in this. So if a nationwide newspaper publishes news regarding an expected merger and such information is circulating in the market without any verification or confirmation from the company, so it shall continue to be considered as UPSI for insiders who are aware of such UPSI until it is officially disclosed by the company through valid channels. So it's not that because it's coming in the newspaper, but the company has not officially declared from his side. So the information, if the merger is going to happen in the company, it still remains UPSI until unless the company formally declares from his side. So any insider who trades on the basis of such news prior to the company's verification or confirmation would be in violation of PIT regulations, and as the information is still classified as UPSI. So this is this is a major change in the definition that the information, if not verified from the company side, it will still be remain as a UPSI only. So we request Pawan sir to take the views of the industry and the other panel members, that whether they think any major difference it's had created in this.
Kunal, can you give any, now this is the law. So Kunal or Saket, I want to request both of you about this particular issue. Are you facing any problem? Are you facing any interpretational issue or practical issue? Please tell us.
No, see, as far as my interpretation is concerned, now it is very clear that whatever you have not informed to the stock exchange, because see, earlier, as per the SEBI LODR regulation also, there was a mandate that if there is a market rumor, in that case, you have to act upon that and give the clarification to the stock exchange. So here what they have said, that if there is some market rumors going on in the market, if you have made it clear and you have already informed to the stock exchange, then it is like available to all. So anybody can access from the stock exchange. So now it is now more clear. So in one word, whatever is informed to the stock exchange is a public information. Apart from that, if you have kept anything with you, that is a basically unpublished price sensitive information.
Saket, your view?
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Kunal. So now the regulations make it amply clear that any trading on the basis of rumors has been barred by SEBI, and this is something which is a welcome step. And I would say that this brings out clarity that there cannot be any market speculations based trading. This regulation now avoids that trading and safeguards the investors in general.
Okay. Kunal, can you tell whether information circulated on social media? Suppose your companies have a social media platform and you are circulating. Are you considering that is generally available information?
See, it is very tough, because see, there are there are certain informations which is really relevant for the business, so which is not available to the general public. So
Okay.
that only goes only out of some insider.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel that like some acquisition, merger, or maybe certain information which is very sensitive and may definitely impact the price of the securities is always with some top management people or the insider.
Okay. Okay. Ravi, whether journal research report published by a research analyst can be considered generally available information?
Uh, May I take 2 minutes before I come to answer this
Yes.
question?
You can.
We'll have to go back to 20th December 2023, on which date a decision was rendered by SAT in the matter of Future Corporate Resources Private Limited. In that, Mr. Biani and other entities were also party. The issue there was regarding a particular scheme of arrangement that was being contemplated between companies, there were no official disclosure by the company, but the media reports were capturing the developments. There were a lot of developments. Also, in a summons issued by SEBI, the company clarified they did not say that there is no discussion regarding the scheme of arrangement that is ongoing between the two identified parties, but they said that currently, as of now, nothing has been finalized. The SEBI penalized, issued penalty because those who traded based on this information, they said this was not generally available. Generally available was already there in the law earlier also. In this judgment, it was laid down by SAT, referring to previous judgment of SEBI, whole-time member, of 2018 in the matter of 63 Moons Technologies Limited, where they had decided that it is not only that if a company, as and when a company will only make a disclosure, then only that information will be considered generally available information. Even now, the amendment that has been brought in, it only excludes something which is still unverified, which means the rumor. Because UPSI may arise within a company and as well as outside a company. Let's suppose it is an acquisition of a listed company by a third party company which is not listed. The UPSI will arise outside the company, not within the company. So a disclosure from the company will never arise in that case. So they are not limiting or narrowing down who will disclose. Their focus is on non-discriminatory and that it should not be a rumor. So therefore, now coming to the question, if the research report is non-discriminatory, for which we will see, I think it will take another round of litigation to understand how this non-discriminatory will be defined and what will be the yardstick of it. But I think the significance, dominance, and outreach of the information and the specific particulars of the information will be the elements on which it will be tested. So I think it will be a mixed question of law and fact, but currently, because research analysts, they do not publish their reports which are available for everybody, we may say that no, it will not be considered generally available. And the safest way to go about looking for a generally available information is still to go the classical way, is to refer to the website refer to the portal of the company and look for the authentic communication or announcements made by the company.
Okay. Varsha madam, if you have joined, can I ask one question relating to this topic? I think she has joined, but I'm not at Moini. You have any other issue in this which you have faced?
No, I think that's very much clear from the industry because there are many informations which the company many a times during their business activities they disclose it to the stock exchange. So it's clear that if the company itself is disclosing the things, so it becomes generally available. Do not go by the information which is in social media by some other agencies or so. If the company, I'd say, if the company is declaring through their social media, so it's a kind of which they per se they are declaring that's a verified information we can take it on.
So let's conclude this way that generally available information concept which SEBI has brought out, everybody is now synced with this, and slowly law is also evolving. Some new thing will come, then it will be discussed. Okay. So
See, you have raised one valid point related to the research report. See, research report is always available with certain set of individuals or maybe investors. So in that case, what is the onus on the company or the compliance officer? How to deal with this?
no, Moini, can you, Ravi, you can tell?
Well, it will always be, because that is also what I'm going to say is also a mixed question of law. There are two things. Generally available information is an exception to UPSI.
Ravi,
UPSI itself.
when you are giving answer, one participant is asking please explain more about research analysis report. So after amendment, are they considered as insider trading? So just you add when you are giving answer to this.
Yes. So because UPSI in itself, unpublished price sensitive information, the test of it is a mixed question of law and fact both. It is not a pure question of law or a pure question of fact. You have to see the facts and then you have to see the elements delineated in the law. Generally available information being its exception would also fall in the same realm. It is also a mixed question of law and fact. For research analyst reports, it will completely depend on the significance, dominance, and outreach of that report. That whether it can be considered generally available information or not. Thirdly, if it is purely an opinion of somebody, if it is not a factual account, but an opinion expressed by an expert, that can never be generally available information in the context of a UPSI.
Okay.
So I think a research analyst report, and this is a general view because situation can change if the facts are changed. So if a research analyst publishes a report which is available to not to the entire market, but to a specific set of individuals, or it is hosted on a closed platform, it can never be a generally available information.
And social media also, you are social media?
Now, social media, if it is verified, let's suppose company has made a disclosure. That disclosure has been copied by some influencer and he has made videos about it. Now that video is generally available information because it is not unverified. But if it is unverified and a rumor, then it is not a generally available information. What SEBI has tried to do is to cast out rumors and unverified speculative information from the category of generally available information. The concept largely remains the same as it was earlier. Just it has the rumors and speculative news have been filtered out. That's it, I think.
Okay. Vani, now next come to this trading plan. Okay. Now trading plan, SEBI has come out. It has taken a shape also. And this is now more or less better as compared to earlier one. But there are some other issues. So please explain and then I will ask you a question.
Right. So we all are aware of that. Earlier, just I mentioned that trading plan was first introduced as a concept when in 2015, 1992 PIT regulations were changed and given a new shape. At that time, it was introduced with the background that the senior management person, KMP, who are perpetually in possession of UPSI because of their role and functionality in the company, they can't go for the trading whenever they want to, because in the insider trading, there is a very clear-cut guidelines that the person who is in possession of UPSI can't trade. So that's the insider trading means. So for those people, the trading plan concept was introduced. But because of some complex nature of that trading plan concept, because it was first introduced at that time, and because of some burdensome nature, because it was mandatory that the trading plan need to be executed, whatever may be the situation after 6 months or 12 months, because the trading plan was for a very longer period at that time. So because of that, very few trading plan came out. So from many a month, we say, or for many of the years since it was introduced, many a time deliberations being done that how the trading plan can be made simple and workable. So on that basis, considering that a consultation paper came in November 23 to make a flexibility in the provisions, and after the public comments, in June 2024, the amendment came wherein the trading plan provisions are completely being changed. So what the impact and what the major changes in the trading plan concept is? So first important amendment came is that the cool-off period has been reduced from 6 months to 4 months, 120 days, that means 4 months. So earlier the person has to give from today, for example, in the September we are sitting. So the person has to think of that this trading plan will start from April. So from April to period, for a period of 12 months, he has to think of that for next financial year, what the trade he can plan for. So that period is reduced now. Only the person has to think of that after 4 months, after 120 days, what I will be going to trade. So this cooling off period from 6 months to 120 days has been done. The second one is the removal of the minimum trading plan period. So earlier, even if you want to trade for a 1 day, for example, if I want to trade on a Diwali Muhurat trading time, so if I am giving in my trading plan that particular day, but that will not be a 1 day trading, that will be treated as that you have given a plan for a 12 months minimum time period. So that has been removed. Now the flexibility is on the person who is giving this plan. So the person after 120 days, he can choose his trading plan period. It is even for a day, it is for a 1 month or 2 months, 3 months, whatever the period, even for a 12 months, if he can plan for. So the minimum trading plan period has been removed. So it gives a flexibility to the person to think of. Then important another one is that earlier in the trading plan of a 12 months period, all the blackout periods basically means the quarterly results trading window closure period that need to be excluded. So even if you are giving 18 months long trading plan, but still you need to exclude those mandatory trading window closure period, irrespective you are not aware of whether in the that after 1.5 years the results are going to be a good or bad. You can't still you need to exclude those periods. But now the insiders have been given flexibility that because they are giving a very prior information, so trading window closure periods are during the trading window closure period, the trading is allowed now. Another is that earlier there is nothing being written that how the disclosure need to be given. So they have mentioned that either the value of trade or the number of securities you need to. Now you can, it's being clarified that you have to mention a specific date, or if you want to mention a time period, so time period cannot be like a 1 month. Okay, during the month of October, I am going to trade 50,000 shares or buy or sell, whatever the nature of the trade I want to. You have to restrict your trading period consecutively for a 5 days. So in October, if I have to choose, I choose from 5th October to 10th October. But I can't say for a 1 month I am taking a leverage that anytime during the October I will be going to trade. So that's not so specific date or a time period. And time period, you can have multiple time periods, but one time period can't exceed a consecutive 5 days. Another one, a welcome step has been, we can treat it as a welcome step. Reason being this, earlier because we are planning for a very longer period, the person can't think of that what the price range price range will be there at that time. Because if I have given a buy, I want to buy. So it's a mandatory, I need to execute even although the price not in my reach that I now can purchase. So for helping and to avoid this kind of a mandatory execution, if the person wants, it's not mandatory, but if the person wants, he can set his price range limit plus minus 20. Plus minus 20 means if you are going to buy, you can put from today's price 20% increase. If beyond 20% increase is there in the price, then I am not going to trade. And even for the similarly for the sale, from the today's price, if minus 20% has been given, that if I want to sell, minus 20 is fine, but beyond minus 20%, if the price drop down, I will not. It's not that you need to. Then you are mandatorily your trading plan get cancelled. So this price movement now fluctuations are being considered in this trading plan. So it avoids. So it's a earlier the people has to mandatorily do it whatever the price at that time of the actual execution will be. The another one is in this price limit, you need to give the corporate actions adjustment need to be done because correct, because plus minus 20% if we are talking about, we have to consider the corporate action adjustment in that. Then the trading earlier it was there and the same is still there that trading plan in the trading plan trading cannot be commenced if the UPSI does not become generally available before the commencement of trading plan, because when you have think it of 4 months before and you have an UPSI, if still it's an UPSI, the trading plan will not commence. And another one is applicability of contra date, because now it's for a very shorter period. You can decide for a shorter period. So contra trade provisions are now applicable. Earlier, it's not applicable if you are giving a trading plan, but now you have to keep in mind that you can't give a trading plan for opposite transaction for within a shorter period of time. Then earlier, so exemptions from the mandatory execution of trading plan, along with this price limit, have been introduced, like permanent in case of permanent incapacity, the person is exempted from mandatory executing the trading plan for bankruptcy case, operation of law, and inadequate liquidity in the script. So these are the cases wherein the person is exempted, that he need not to execute the trading plan in these situations. And now a time period has been defined that if the trading plan is submitted by the insider to the compliance officer within the 2 trading days of its receipt, have to notify the same to the stock exchange.
Okay, Mohini, I will request, because Sanjay, Parag and Varsha both have joined. So this topic we will cover later. First, we will start this connected person point of view. So, let's trading plan mein just like Kishore, you have any now? The regulator is also here. Are you facing any problem in trading plan point of view, which SEBI has clarified?
See, this new changes has been basically a very good step by the regulator to encourage more and more framing of trading plan by the senior management people. Because what we have seen earlier is that in the companies or the industry, the trading plan, formation of the trading plan and intimation to the stock exchange was very low in numbers. So with this change, I think it is a right step by the regulator, and we as an industry will be encouraged to adopt this in the coming time.
Okay, Saket, your point?
No, I also agree with Mr. Kunal. So this trading plan is a welcome step, definitely, and it's a welcome step for the promoters and big corporate houses, because most of the times what they're doing is they intend to divest their shares or do pledges for investing into new business. So earlier restriction of 12 months meant that whatever they have declared, they cannot go beyond what has been declared for the 12-month period. But now they can envisage a shorter period and then plan their funding. So definitely this is a big boost, and we should see a higher number of trading plans being approved in the near future.
Okay. Mohini, are you facing any problem, the client which you are interacting?
No, now because it's now now the trading plan, this amendment will come into effect. So as the people will now implement, then practically any challenge will come, we will see that thing.
Still, we have to see how this trading plan can be framed under the SDD software as well for the purpose of monitoring. So we have to see that part also. So maybe we can have some guidance of the regulator here, that how to capture if there is some trading plan and how to capture on the SDD.
Varsha Madam and Sanjay ji, can you just about now this is implemented and people are using it, but are you getting some practical problem from the corporate world side, or the way they are implementing, which is not as per the requirement of the regulation, or they are not fulfilling the process? So any view of this, Madam, Varsha Madam and Sanjay sir?
I think the regulation, this amendment is getting notified within 90 days. So still some time is there, and this trading plan will come into place, the amended one. After that only we'll come to know whatever the issues people are facing. And
but so far we have not got any adverse reactions to what we have put out as a notification. So
Okay.
we are hopeful that we have tried to mitigate a lot of concerns which people had around trading plans. And I see that in your seminar as well, it's heartening to know that there are encouraging views on the recent proposals which we have put up regarding trading plans. No, because we also are mindful that we need to have a very robust market. We need to increase the market efficiency, and we don't want a situation where we are extremely stringent to the detriment of wider market development.
Okay.
So the trading plan is a move towards that end. So while we are hopeful it will meet with the expected success, in case there are any concerns in implementation and enforcement, we'll be glad to take it forward. And I think you can perhaps help us out with whatever feedback you get from your constituents, and we'll see how we can mitigate such concerns going forward.
That we will do, but the questions which we are receiving, because that we will discuss, and we will
Yes.
say to you also that these are the issues which people are facing. Okay, Moini, let's take advantage of Barsha Madam and Sanjay ji, because this is the most important topic, which is a consultative paper, and maximum suggestion if we can get, that will be good. So Moni, just you give a presentation, then I will ask the Barsha Madam and Sanjay ji about this, why this is required and what is the concern. So Moni, over to you. Quickly, you just do, then we can have more discussion.
Right. So with respect to this, the new consultation paper of on the connected person. So this consultation paper just came in July 2024. So before we start with that, what in the consultation paper connected person definition has now been broadened. So first we need to understand who is a connected person. So presently this connected person concept is still there in the regulations. So connected person by the law, it refers to an individual who has a relationship with the company or its officer that provides access to unpublished price sensitive information, or who is likely to come into possession of such UPSI. So this definition includes individuals who may not hold an official position within the company, but are in regular contact with the company and its officer and are involved in the company's operation and could potentially engage in the insider trading. So the connected person definition is there, and there is a list of the persons in the law which being treated as the connected person. So in that particular definitions or the particular categories, a few words has been removed, and the few new category of the people and the institutions or the organization or the firms have been added. So first important one is that in the connected persons list, the first one is that earlier it's being written that, or presently it's being written that an immediate relative of the connected person is the connected person. But now the immediate word has been removed and the relative is still be there, and the relative word itself being broadened. Another one is that if we go to the point J, there there in the connected persons list, the word the institute, the organization by the name of HUF is coming. So that HUF has also again been removed, and similarly the immediate here also been removed, and only the relative is there. So along with the HUF, many other entities have been added in this. So there are many other things in the consultation paper. The important thing which we want to deliberate here on this platform is on the definition of the relative. So in the definition of the relative, immediate relative means, if we talk about the PIT, in the PIT, immediate relative means the spouse, if the spouse, then parents, sibling and child of the person and its spouse. This is the only immediate relative. And we all are aware of that in the PIT, when we are asking for a disclosure from the designated person, we seek the disclosure with respect to only the immediate relative. And we bind with the designated person these immediate relatives only when it comes to the compliances. But now, relative definition is being, in immediate word has been removed, and it's proposed to add these the category of the relative in that is spouse, sibling, siblings of the spouse, then siblings of the parents, fine. Then the new category has been added, any lineal ascendant or descendant of the individual or spouse of the person referred to in the from second to fifth. So it is intended that the relatives of the connected person to become connected person for the purpose of these regulations. So this is the it's a very major impact, because now it's not only 5 or 6 people. Now in the definition of relative, many more people or many more relatives of a person will come into it. Open for the discussion, sir.
Varsha Madam and Sanjay sir, why it was required that to change the word immediate relative, and second is that bringing out the definition of income tax in place of Companies Act, which was earlier there. So can you just highlight that what is the thought behind this? I can understand, because in the investigation we have seen in your orders that people are identifying that who is not relative as per Companies Act, and they always trade in their name. So the meaning, that's why you have involved the immediate word, you have removed. Now relative is there, so relative is the wide term, and if you find any connection, it can come. And then income tax definition is very wide. So what do you, madam?
First, let me start with the slight correction. If you go back, Mohini, in your presentation,
Previous slide.
previous slide.
It's a pehli wali Mohini.
Here you are saying refers to an individual. So there may be non-individual also. Connected person it is not necessary, only individual. Then let me start with the question which Mr. Pawan Vijay had asked, why we have come up with this kind of thing. So we'll start with the disclaimer which is there in our consultation paper also, that whatever changes we are doing, that is only for, we are trying to broaden the net which we are casting right upon for our enforcement proceedings. We are very categorically, we have stated that we are not increasing any disclosure burdens. Even if we are broadening the definition of relative, the disclosure requirement that are currently there on immediate relatives, that remains same. Even we are retaining the definition of immediate relative as it is for the disclosure purposes. So this is only, these changes are only brought about to make our enforcement process more stronger, to help catch hold of those persons who are not doing the things properly. That is the basic intent which we have made very clear in our consultation paper also.
Okay. संजय सर, आपका कोई व्यू इसमें?
No, I agree that this is the reason which we thought we'll have this definition, which encompasses a lot of relationships which we have normally encountered in the course of our investigations. And we did not want to make it too complex also, because as you see, this definition of relative is extremely simple. You don't really have to think too much about who would come and who would not come. And this meets the purposes of our regulation. So we thought we will bring in this instead of, depending on something which we have used in the past, but we may have met with some limited success, or we felt that there is a need to have a slightly different definition which would help us in our investigation and enforcement. So that is the short reason. There's no real intention to sort of have a choice of one or the other. We thought this is something which meets the ends of our justice, so we thought we'll take this to start with. And as Varsha has rightly said, we are not envisaging any additional disclosure burden. This is a very simple, simplistic definition which a lot of people will understand without getting confused or without burdening them with any additional obligations. So that is all that is there to this definition of relative.
Okay.
And right now, align the regulation with something that is there, means we are not framing any new definition as such. We are just taking whatever is there in income tax or Companies Act to align ourselves with them. We are not coming up with anything on our own.
Okay. Ravi, before going to Kunal and Saket, industry point of view, are you, can you give as a you are doing advice to the corporate for investigation matter? Why SEBI has required to change this? Can you just tell from your point of view?
The change was required because despite the original understanding of having a wide ambit of connected person definition, in the course of litigation and the investigations that SEBI performed, people tried to formulate some lacunae and went very hyper-technical basis that. And therefore, there were some difficulties not only in the courtrooms, but also while the investigative map was being drawn. And I'm sure this would have been the difficulty. And therefore, they have aligned it with the time-tested definition of relative, which has been present in Income Tax Act, as rightly said by both officers, that the aim is not to cast any additional burden of disclosure. The disclosure regime is running, and I request please feel free to add, edit, modify wherever you feel I have gone overboard with the explanation. So the intent is not to cast additional burden of disclosures. They are running in the regime they are running already. This is particularly to trace down and deter the instances of insider trading. So insider trading law deals with multiple offenses. One is the offense of insider trading. And then there is an entire paraphernalia of systems and internal controls, which is aimed to prevent the menace of insider trading from happening, which is the code of conduct and entire paraphernalia of that. The amendment in definition of connected person is not to add any additional disclosure in that paraphernalia. That remains as it is, where they have to investigate and catch the menace of insider trading and curb it. There it will expand the scope and help them track the traces of the crime and offense. That I think that is the intent I could understand from the paper.
Okay, Kunal, now tell me, now this is the new definition, or otherwise it is not a new definition, but some item is absolutely right. It is, they have borrowed from now income tax, which is better than or larger than Companies Act definition. So now you have
I wanted to add, Mr. Pawan, I wanted to add one thing. We had done comparative study also, and this definition of income tax is much broader than Companies Act definition. So
same thing. I'm also saying the same thing, because Companies Act definition is very limited. If I can just say, that is talking father, then mother, son, son's wife, daughter, daughter's husband, brother, and sister. They are not talking about the lineal descendant and other thing. Or the entire definition of Companies Act is confined to immediate relative, that concept. So when you have removed the immediate relative and we have brought out this income tax, it is absolutely fine. But now, Kunal, tell me, you have to take from all your person, those who are you are following for the insider trading law, you have to see connected person, and connected person mean these people. So how will you face problem in implementing this? Though you are doing an income tax because you are a big company, so you are following this. So both the same question to Kunal and Saket. First, Kunal, you tell.
See, already there was like lot to do on that definition, connected person, lot of things, like lot of entity individuals was already covered. After coming into this wider scope of this relative definition, then we have to go one step more, because first is a connected person, and then again the connected person has a connect with the another. So that has also been brought into this net. So now, of course, this is a very vast, you can say, the scope where we have to exercise more caution and more prudence while dealing with the connected person, and educate on more frequently basis.
Okay, Saket, your point of view?
Yeah, definitely this expansion of definition is a very onerous responsibility on the company. and more on the designated person also. As a compliance officer, first we'll have to explain all the designated persons as to what is the impact of this. And with the expanded list, many family members nowadays are not on speaking terms for their disputes and all. So it becomes much more difficult to implement, have the information in place. So
Mr.
definitely,
Saket,
yeah.
Mr. Saket, I just wanted to ask how this is going to impact the designated persons.
Yes, Saket, please tell.
Ma'am, my understanding is whenever we are going for a closure of trading window and all, designated persons, they should inform all the connected persons which are falling into their relation that they should
So I made it very clear. I made it clear in the beginning that we are not increasing any disclosure burden, and that disclosure burden which you are talking about is relating to immediate relative of designated persons. So we are not changing any disclosure requirements. That is very clear from the consultation paper. If you read it thoroughly, it is very clear. And we are repeating again, we are not changing any disclosure requirement. We are not asking for any extra information till we ask. It is only we are trying to catch more people, like earlier said by earlier speaker. We are just trying to put the net wider, nothing else.
See, this wider net is only the purpose of a
Ma'am,
specific.
the purpose is sorry, please,
Only
sir.
when we have a particular case of investigation before us that we have this enabling provision where we deem such person to be connected. In the routine manner, as the company goes about its business or as professionals advise the company, there is no additional burden which is envisaged. They can go about their jobs just like the old regulations were there. This is just in a particular case when we are investigating. This is something which we'll look at. So that is a shorter point. It has nothing to do with an additional burden which we impose either on the DP or on the immediate relative.
So
No,
I
but for the purpose of transparency, we need to
Yes.
inform the connected person that what type of, like, he should prevent these type of things. Then only, see, the purpose is not to be caught at the later stage, but to prevent everything, so that we have to regularly engage with them and then educate them. Then
See,
the onus is on
that
that
is
person
another.
to do that again on the forward basis.
So there is a difference between updating or sharing knowledge with the connected person and maintaining some information or data about that connected person. There is a difference. So if you
Yes.
are sharing, you are updating, you are sharing some information, that is fine. But maintaining information, maintaining any such data, that is not envisaged in this new framework.
so
Yeah, I agree that the data point has been, like, there is no increase on that, the maintenance of data and all that part. But of course, training has to be imparted more and more down the line also, so that the such instances doesn't occur. Because in that
That
case,
is
if
the
that person is
requirement.
there, the company is also connected with that. Okay, so the name of that individual comes along with the company in any of the investigations.
See, what is happening is, as we have said below this note, it is a rebuttable presumption. So if someone happens to trade incidentally, it's not that we are going to catch him immediately and charge him. He's going to say, listen, I did it in my normal course. You can see my track record. I have been regularly dealing in these securities, and there's no way I would have traded based on some inside information. So that is very clear in our note, which says the rebuttable presumption. So we don't foresee any problem either from your end in terms of updating or making additional requirements, both as a formal information or data sharing mechanism or informally of updating someone. So we are very clear that we are not sort of burdening or adding to any what do you say complication, increasing complication or a compliance whatever with respect to our immediate relative which we had envisaged. That stays as it is.
Okay, so what they are thinking on, madam, they are saying if there is any change in any law, so they have to communicate to the directors, they have to communicate to the KMPs or those who are having it, or those though to whom they think that that person possesses the information, price sensitive information. So they want to tell them that now these all people will be covered. So whenever you are having any information, you have to take care that these people should not trade in the market.
Yes.
So that is the point which is coming. Okay. Now, I just want to read one very interesting question has come on socio-economic point of view. One participant is asking, the joint family system is slowly fading away. Expanding the definition of term for the purpose of PIT, would it not increase the burden of the compliance officer's compliance requirement in that sense? The person concerned inclined the expand relative only to the compliance officer. Secondly, the intent of the income tax and the SEBI law is totally different. Why try to synchronize the two unrelated intended law? This is the question, madam, which somebody is asking.
But we want to ask that person, what compliance burden are we seeking? What compliance burden is being increased? We are not telling them you maintain any information, you file any information. Like Sanjay ji very clearly told, in case of any investigation, we just want to cast the net wider. That is it. Other than that, whatever your joint family or nuclear family, we are not asking for any details. Till some incident happens, till the investigation starts, till the net is cast, nothing is being sought.
But
So how does it make any difference?
okay, so the subsequent question relating to the same point, ma'am is said no change in disclosure. How company will come to know detail of relatives? Because they have to collect that information of these people. So that is a compliance point of view they have to manage.
If and when, see, again the same thing comes, if and when something happens, and if and when information is required, then at that time information has to be collected and given. It is not that you are supposed to, it is not like every time it has to be readily available with you. You have to maintain that kind of database. I am asking, so that information should be readily available. If we ask, then you procure and get. If we don't ask, you don't procure.
But madam, I will communicate to all my connected, all my person, those who having a UPSI, that
Yeah.
please ensure that these are connected people and they should not trade in the market.
Yes.
That I have to do.
I want to add, I think this change in the definition is from the investigation point of view. Yes, from the employee point of view, definitely. Now, earlier the people may think of who wants to misuse this definition of I can trade myself. I can't trade myself. I can't trade through my brother who is dependent on me. But my brother's wife is outside this scope, so she can. But now, because this definition, the investigation can go up to that particular level if it required. I think that from the investigation point of view, SEBI wants to come out now. You is not only you and your one level relative. The investigation can go up to the second level as well. But from the disclosure point of view, which now the designated person is giving about himself, his spouse, his parent, and his dependent sibling and child, it is still there, and only this trading window closure or the disclosure on annual basis restricted to the earlier definition only. It's only from the investigation point of view or enforcement point of view, the SEBI is coming out with this. If it's
No, but we have to see the prohibition part also, that we have to prohibit. So for that, the company or the compliance officer has to take, like what I said earlier, that you have to educate more and more people now. Earlier you were only 10. Now it is 10 into 10. Because you cannot only say that it will come later on. You have to give it.
Information, yes. Education and education is required for the people, that if you are sharing the information with your brother-in-law, earlier he become an insider because once I share an information with my brother-in-law, he comes into that particular category of an insider. But because law saying immediate relative, I'm not giving his sharing his PAN. So if he trades, it will not come into picture. Now, I think with this definition, I must be aware of that he can also come into this PIT category.
There can be a challenge. 2 years back, there was someone who was connected person. There is some investigation maybe 2 years later, and then you don't have any information, and you are not connected with that person. You don't have the access. You cannot talk to that person. How to deal with these type of problems?
See, first of all, I think the understanding is incorrect. I don't know why you want to share an UPSI with your brother-in-law or sister-in-law. You know very clear what is an UPSI when you are an employee of the company. We have very clearly said the information should be shared on a need-to-know basis. तो जो पहले चल रहा था वही चलेगा ना. आप जाके दुनिया भर को थोड़ी बताने वाली हो कि यूपीएसआई मेरे पास है, आप ट्रेड मत करो. अब यूपीएसआई बताओगे क्यों किसी को? If the company has given you information in a fiduciary capacity, you are expected to keep it with you. That is the short point. This is trading on basis of UPSI. Why don't you understand that? It is just not trading or sharing information. अगर वो पहले से ट्रेड कर रहा है तो रिबटेबल प्रेजम्पशन तो मैटर आएगा ही नहीं. Why you think that you have to tell? पहले आप 10 जन को बता रहे थे, अभी 20 जन को बता रहे हो. अभी क्या 10 जन को बताते जा रहे हो आप कि मेरे पास यूपीएसआई की कंपनी मेरी मर्जी है, मैनेजमेंट कर रही है, आप सौदा करना बंद करो. आप तो किसी को जाके बताते नहीं हो ना. If you are an employee or a director of the company, information is with you. It is expected to be kept with you in a fiduciary capacity. You are not going to tell everyone at large कि मेरे पास information है, अभी आप सौदा करना बंद करो. उसको जो करना है वो करेगा ही. आप जबरदस्ती जाके उन्हें information दोगे और बोलेगी अभी करो या मत करो, obviously there will be a suspicion ना. तो why are we jumping 2 levels ahead? हम पहले से बता रहे हैं जब इन्वेस्टिगेशन होगा तब हम इंफॉर्मेशन मांगेंगे. अगर कंपनी के पास नहीं होगी तो हम डायरेक्टली एंटिटी के पास जाएंगे. वो भी पावर है हमारे पास. तो ऐसे नहीं कि कनेक्टेड 2 साल पहले थे, 2 साल बाद नहीं है, आपके पास इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है तो हम डायरेक्टली एंटिटी के पास जाके समन में लेके आएंगे इंफॉर्मेशन. कोई ऑब्लिगेशन नहीं कि कंपनी को मेंटेन करना है और कंपनी के पास नहीं होगा तो हम जबरदस्ती बोलेंगे आप लेके आओ. है तो दे दो, नहीं है तो हम डायरेक्टली एंटिटी के पास जाएंगे. और हमारे बहुत सारे तरीके हैं जो हम एंटिटीज के पीछे जाए. So let us be very clear when you are saying about an additional burden, there is no additional burden. You just have to ensure that if you are given an information as an UPSI, you keep it that way. दुनिया भर को जाके बताना नहीं है कि मेरे पास यूपीएस है, आप सौदा कर रहे तो बंद कर लो. ये एक ही कंपनी की बात हो रही है, 100 कंपनी की बात नहीं हो रही कि आप बता दें कि मैं 100 कंपनी में काम कर रहा हूँ और ये आप सौदा करना बंद करो. जो ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हो तो ट्रेडिंग करेगा ही, राइट, विद और विदाउट यूपीएसआई. So, but if we find that he has been trading on the basis of an UPSI given by a designated person or a connected person, only then we will be covering him in the scope of our investigation. So let that be very clear without any confusion, without any misgivings.
And we already have established a system of structured digital database where the company has to maintain the whomsoever they have passed on the UPSI. So,
Okay.
हो गया ना?
Okay.
Ma'am, question I had here. So earlier also, with the limited list of relatives, it was assumed that those persons would be having a UPSI. Right now, you mentioned, I would not communicate any UPSI to a connected person who is a distant relative. Now, what effectively this change means that the burden of proving that I did not have a UPSI has actually shifted from the regulator to that person. Earlier, the regulator had to prove that the person was in possession of UPSI when he was trading. Now the burden has shifted to that person. So how?
Exactly. That's why SEBI wants to do this now. That all these UPSI, first of all, you should not pass on. Second is UPSI information. The law says that whatever you have, you should keep it. The trading is a secondary part. First is information which you are having should not pass on to anybody. That is a basic point. I think Ravi, you want to say something? Ravi?
Add up has already been taken up by both the officers. I think Sir was speaking and he covered that point. See, there are ample powers under Section 11C and the entire range of Section 11 that investigation can even otherwise. Let's say there was no such amendment in the definition of connected person. The earlier definition was wide enough, and in the process of investigation, if SEBI would have got that the information was transferred from point A to point B, the information creates the link. This is only an additional point to check these people also. And the sufficient powers are already there. And it is also well understood and should be understood by industry also that, if an information is a personal information pertaining to an individual, which is not being maintained by a company, SEBI would not ask that information from the company. They would go after the individual who has that information, or that if the information is personal in nature or it's a third party information. And that is a valid defense, because if under summons, if a company receives a summons or a compliance officer receives a summons which calls for an information which is not under the aegis of the compliance officer, they can always declare in bona fide that I do not possess this information, I can't access this information, I have no power to do so, and therefore should be sought directly. In many cases it has been done, and SEBI seeks then the information directly. So I don't think so. And it is very fair on the part of the officers to concede and say that no additional disclosure is being imposed upon the companies and compliance officers. The only thing they want to change by bringing these, making these tweaks in the definition of connected person is to widen the ambit of their investigations, so that net does not fall short when they really go to investigate and catch the culprits. I think that's the purpose.
Mr. Ravi Prakash has, I think, summed up the point very nicely. It is not putting any additional burden on the compliance officer or on the company. See, there are two things. One is we get an enabling provision, because there have been situations where people have taken the recourse to a technical definition under law and have sort of tried to get around the regulations. And that is not something which we encourage, because as you know, insider trading is a very serious offense. When someone does insider trading, is actually interfering with the normal price discovery mechanism. There is a lot of asymmetry of information. People who trade in the market have a general risk return profile. But when someone has inside information, the risk return profile gets very skewed. So it is unfair on the common investors that they are trading. Then on the other side, is someone who has a lot of select confidential information. So the wider picture needs to be looked at here. What are we looking at? Insider trading, why are we having this regulation? So that there is greater efficiency in capital market allocation. We don't want to disturb the market integrity. And in situations like this, where we feel we cannot take action against a person because he's hiding under a technical definition, it only serves to discourage people from accessing the market. If the markets get a bad name, then we won't get people coming into the market and having confidence in it. So we have to see where is the balance of convenience. Where are we imposing too much of a heavy burden even during investigation? Disclosure में तो burden नहीं है, but even in investigation, it is unless we have a good case where we feel that we cannot let someone take recourse under law. So that is the reason why this is only an enabling provision. It is not that we are going to invoke each and every inquiry which we conduct. We will reach this stage after a lot of analysis and examination at our end, and it's not that it will be a routine query. And as many of you would be knowing, this investigation is a power which is given to us after a lot of internal discussion. It's the power under Section 11C of the SEBI Act, where the SEBI board decides that an investigating officer is to be appointed. So there are enough checks and balances to ensure that we do not use this power just because we have it. We will use this power only when we are reasonably sure there is a prima facie case. The entities who have traded based on unpublished price sensitive information, and we feel they have some linkages with the designated person, then only it becomes a rebuttable presumption. So we are putting enough checks and balances to ensure that it is not misused, A, and B, there are no additional burdens either on the compliance officer or on the company, while safeguarding the overall principle that you will not give unpublished price sensitive information to anyone when such information has been given to you either in a fiduciary capacity or in a professional relationship or any other relationship. So as long as those underlying principles are very well understood, we don't foresee any reasons for any misgivings on part of the industry.
Okay. Sir, there's even different question relating to this. Somebody is saying in a modern time, it is so difficult to know about the share trading activity of the relative due to strained relationship. Because today, brother and brother is not talking to each other. They are working against each other. So if something is there, then how to face this type of situation when they are fighting to each other?
Where are we saying that you go and get your brother's trading data? वही तो बात है, हमने बोला है कि भाई का साथ जाके देखो उसका डीमैट अकाउंट क्या है. When I'm saying it is an investigation, if I ask the compliance officer, if he says no, I'm estranged from my brother, you see we are living separately, we have no connection, no association, the matter ends there. I will go to the brother and ask him on what basis did you trade. अगर पूरे साल में आपने एक कंपनी का सौदा किया नहीं और अभी आपने किया है सौदा, obviously it will raise anyone's suspicion. आपका भी suspicion raise होगा. Forget me, any common man will feel कि why is he suddenly trading? So obligation किस पे है? Who's going to ask कि आपके भाई ने क्यों सौदा किया, आप उसके साथ exchange हो नहीं हो? It's a rebuttable presumption, right? So why do you foresee automatic transfer of information? I'm not able to understand that. If something is kept with a designated person in its confidential रखना है उसे, why will he go and ask his brother every time? आपने मेरी कंपनी में कितने सौदे किए, मैं इस कंपनी में काम कर रहा हूँ, इस कंपनी में आप क्या सौदे कर रहे हैं? वो तो डे टू डे होता नहीं है, राइट? तो यूपीएसआई भी डे टू डे मैटर तो है नहीं कंपनी के लिए, उसके ऊपर उसके सौदे तो और भी रेयर हो जाएंगे. So these situations will be very scarce and will be very sort of rare for anyone to sort of even envisage such.
So it is very clear now that it is not the compliance burden to anybody, but if there is any investigation is taking, then these are the connected people, and the SEBI can see this, and there is a pre-decided law that you will not pass information to the connected person. So you are not, if you have given this information to them, like you have given an example that you are saying my brother's relationship is strained, but suddenly I am purchasing that share where I have the SEBI is investigating that you have passed on this information. So I think Mohini, this is very clear. It is for the benefit of that these are the people who will cover. Actually, in my opinion, earlier it was open-ended. Now it is clearly defined. So it is better for the corporate world to understand that these are the all connected people are there. So first of all, you should not pass information, or if you are passing information, then these people can be asked that why you have purchased. And people are always taking advantage of buying shares after seeing the definition. Those who are not covered in definition, they want to park shares, or they want to tell them buy these shares. So now it is a larger pool and larger thing used for the investigation purpose.
So more.
Even the slide which you are anyway, Mohini just listened me out. Even the slide which you have put on, it is not a new category of a connected person. These are deemed connected. Let the difference be very nicely known. It is not connected. Connected के लिए अलग obligation है, deemed connected के लिए अलग obligation है, और अलग requirement under law है. So this is not a connected person का category. It is deemed connected, and the person has every right to say this is now I'm not connected. Maybe I'm estranged, or maybe ये हमारा रिश्ता है नहीं है, वो आप prove कर लो. As long as you prove it, we'll obviously take it on board and not investigate or analyze any further.
Right. So I think because of the present, the society and the lifestyle of ours, or the many other categories have been added, like now the new deemed connected person sharing a household or resident with a connected person. That is also now be in the deemed connected person is now there. Then it's one more thing that individuals with material financial relationship with the connected person, including employment, financial dependency, or frequent financial transactions. And then like HUF earlier were there, but HUF where the Karta or any member or co-person is a connected person or a relative of a connected person. So relatives, HUF also comes under this deemed connected person definition now. And individuals acting, an important one is individuals acting on advice, direction, or instructions from a connected person. So these are the more new additions in the connected person, deemed connected person list. So I think that is from the point of view of that from the one person you are trying to connect all the other persons, either the person himself, his relative, or person is sharing one household with that particular person. Nowadays, the person are living in like a PG and in the hostel. So there they might have they have their friendships with the person. So I think that also a good step that if you're sharing, if you are talking with them and if you're sharing, so now if they trade, then it can be that you have shared some information and the person has traded insider trading, in that case of insider.
Okay. So there is one question has come that if any DP has UPSI, but he has not shared with anybody, however, their relative generally trade in such company in which he is DP, traded during the period when the DP has access to UPSI, then how to prove that the connected person traded based upon only general information, not based on UPSI? Ravi, can you guide give answer to this?
Sure, sir. I just missed on some elements of the question. Could you please clarify that?
He's saying if any DP has UPSI but has not shared with anybody, however, their relative generally trade in such company in which he is DP, traded during the period when the DP has access to UPSI, then how to prove that the connected person traded based upon only general information, not based on UPSI?
Well, the situation seems tough to prove, but I'll tell in what circumstances one can prove it. I'll take example of the case of Den Networks to discuss this. There also, one a professional was involved, and we all know that in recent past, not so much back in past, the Den and Reliance deal was ongoing. Some professional who was involved, who was actually a lawyer, had some information regarding the deal, the UPSI, that this part is admitted. That lawyer had got a relative, a fiance and a relative, who was wielded with that information. It was passed on by this lawyer to that third party. And based on that, the third party traded. And the similar kind of defense was taken when SEBI questioned that person, that why did you trade in it? So let's suppose the transaction was happening in year 2017, discussed in 2017. UPSI came into force in 2018 on a particular day of October in 2018. And immediately next day, this guy traded in the shares. And there were fund transfers between these individuals before the trading happened. Now, the question how you prove it is by showing the surrounding circumstances. If your conduct is surrounded by so many smoking guns, and there are circumstances which would point out to the guilt or which would show that you did not act as a reasonable person of ordinary prudence, that will give SEBI enough preponderance of probability to boil down a case of guilt. But if the surrounding circumstances can be utilized by you to demonstrate that there was innocence on your part and there is no let's suppose the period during which the relative trades, relative of a designated person trades, there is no connection, no calls, no communication between these two people. And that relative can show that I have been trading in these kind of shares from a reasonable period of time, and that my pattern of trading is not unusual this time. It is my usual trading pattern. So these are the preponderance of probabilities which will lean in the favor of his innocence rather than the guilt. And SEBI would also take into account these. And in many cases, they have also let go people who could ably satisfy on the basis of preponderances that there was no guilt on their part. So I think this is how I will answer it, sir. It all depends on the circumstances they will showcase.
Sanjay sir, you want to add in this?
I think Mr. Ravi Prakash has stated the point quite correctly. During the investigation, we would see what is the preponderance of probability. So if sufficient circumstances are brought, obviously we would not make a case just because we want to, because even it has to withstand a high degree of judicial scrutiny, both internally and within the higher forums of law as well. So unless this will only be a corroborative evidence, it will be a supporting evidence, it is based on preponderance, and unless we have adequate secondary evidence to prove a charge, we will not be in a position to take the charge any further. It is just giving us a sort of enabling factor to be suspicious about someone. Let us put it that. If someone's trading pattern is unusual, I just feel like asking him certain questions. If he can prove to me, no, this trading was normal, there's no connection between me and someone who is a DP or someone who is UPS, obviously, as we have done in the past, we will have to let him go because he's done it on his own volition and not triggered by any UPSI which has been given to him by a designated person.
Okay. Sir, एक last question है, then you can, because I know you have to go. Somebody is saying that so should we wait till the investigation is started and we already made the default? Then only should we start complying the data. What they are saying that you can do investigation, you can get that information, that is okay. But I can communicate and I can collect the data relating to these definition from my person, those who are purchasing UPSI. So it is not a good idea that we should collect information in advance, communicate to them. So they should understand this, that these people should depart from doing trading if I have any UPSI.
See, what I will leave this question like right now we have one system in place where if anybody is having the UPSI and they are passing on the UPSI to any other person, that data has to be captured in the structured digital database.
Okay.
No question being asked. Whosoever is the person who is having passing on information has to be captured. Now it is again we are saying we are not asking anybody to maintain that information about the relatives or the deemed connected person on a regular basis. If they want to maintain, as it is their choice, but we are not asking anybody to maintain it on a regular basis. We will be asking, we are saying very clearly on case to case basis as per the requirement whenever we require.
Okay. So thank you very much, madam. Thank you, Sanjay sir, for participating and giving this direction. No doubt, this definition will create a clarity in the minds of market. But everybody should understand this point that the UPSI is for you, not for others. And you cannot control the information which you are supplying to anybody that he is not trading. Whatever you are doing for the manipulation purpose, or you are aware and then you are buying shares, that SEBI can catch hold. But normally, the basic purpose of UPSI, you keep it with you, not pass on to anybody, because as per the SDD, whatever information you are passing to somebody, you have to put in SDD, whether he's a limited, whether he's a printer, or whether he's a designer who is designing your result. That is also sometimes connected to this information. Okay, so the larger issue is there, and already in insider trading, the main concept is who is possessing information and how he is getting information, which I can recall one international the USA case where what happened, the chairman and the managing director was traveling in the car and the driver was driving the car, and then they were discussing about some transaction. Driver heard this and told to some of his relative or friend to buy shares of this company. So this person is not coming to any definition, any category, but because he possessed information and he got the information, and on that basis he acted. So he is an insider and he is guilty, and it was decided that he is guilty. This is just I want to inform because you people are already knowing this fact. So this is the things. So your last word, Sanjay sir and Varsha madam, before you go, you leave.
We again want to reiterate that UPSI is supposed to be not to be passed on to anybody. It is supposed to be used only, passed on only on need to know basis. You are not supposed to pass the information like any other information, and if it is being passed, it has to be maintained in the structured digital database. Right now, the way we are doing the things, we are not increasing any compliance running. Again, we are emphasizing. That's it from my side.
Yes, sir. Sanjay sir, आपका last word.
No, not at all. That is what we have said in our consultation paper as well. This is something to do with insider trading, which itself is a prohibited activity. And under some situations, we do understand that there may be some trade, there may be some passing of information, but that has to be done only when it is required in the normal course or as required by law. It is not something which someone or a DP should do in the day-to-day business. So the reason why we have put this is to just help us more in our enforcement and not with any other intent as to bring someone into the net just only to catch him or to impose any burden on him in terms of taking information or writing out information anywhere. So that's all that is there to it. And I think we hope, thank you so much for the invite actually. it's good to sort of have this discussion so we also understand what are the misgivings or confusions which may be there in the minds of the professionals when we are making regulations which may sort of impact how corporate India functions.
Okay.
So thank you so much. And
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. We will collect all the questions and pass on to you. So if there is a need, like people, because I'm seeing the questions, still there is a confusion. So we will compile it and give it to you. So you can just realize that if there is any confusion, so you can clarify when you are finalizing the law.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So now, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. So, Moni, now the NSC has given one circular recently. Just quickly correct it, the analysis of this, because that is also connected to SDD and the insider trading. Then I will take remaining questions.
Correct. So, it's not the circular through the NSC. What exactly the NSC is saying, that stock exchanges, whenever any company is making any submission, they are saying that it's subject to the review by the stock exchange. And the submissions are marked as satisfactory only after performing adequacy and accuracy check. And in this, when they generally has adopted two-pronged approach, that is the comparison with the previously filed shareholding pattern. We are talking specifically with respect to the shareholding pattern, and the comparison with the data filed by the listed company with depository as a part of a system-driven disclosure. So, because why these two are related? First is that in the shareholding pattern, we are categorizing the shareholding among the promoter group, then non-promoter. In the non-promoter, again, we have the various categories. So, and the SDD also, we are giving, not worried about the non-promoter, but first is the promoter, then promoter group, and in the non-promoter group, there are designated persons which are coming. So, just NSC, what they have done, they have tried to find out the discrepancy in the shareholding pattern categorization and the data which the companies are updating in the system-driven disclosure. So, few checks they have asked for, and for this they have, during the January to March, NSC has done this check for about 2,000 companies, and about 700 companies they have sought this clarification. So from the entire this particular process, what exactly the message which the NSC wants to give to the companies, that is the first, the cross check. So it is essential to cross check the information related to promoter and promoter group filed in the system driven disclosure and in the shareholding pattern. And discrepancies such as name mismatch or the PAN mismatch need to be promptly rectified. So important to understand is that shareholding pattern is a position on a one day at the quarter end. But the SDD in the system driven disclosure, it's a transaction because you have given the PAN, and from the PAN itself, the trading is being fetched. And whenever the 10 lakh limit is being crossed, the system, through the system driven disclosure, NSC is displaying the name, or the BSC is displaying the name of those person and the quantity and the amount traded. So there, if you have made any person as a promoter, there is a name of the promoter there. And then in the SDD, in the shareholding pattern, there is some mismatch. So you have to be very careful, because at both the places, information must be same. The second one is the dual categorization. So ensure dual categorization for individuals who hold position as both directors and promoters within the system driven disclosure. So in the company, in the system driven disclosure, they have found that the people have categorized Mr. A as a promoter, also as a director. So two PAN numbers they have come across. So it's also, they are saying that it's a not the dual categorization. You have to categorize it as a one place in the promoter, because its primary is the promoter and then the second one is the director. Second, it comes to the corporate action. So any pending corporate action or trade settlements are there. So the company has to make a company remarks to avoid such discrepancies. Pledge details need to be very promptly be informed and updated in the system driven disclosure. So because in the pledge, many a times the PAN in the PAN, the demat account doesn't change, so it will not come in the trading. So the things have to be very careful. And even if the promoter and promoter group shareholding is nil, So many a times the question comes that in the SDD, we need to give only the PAN number of those people who have the demat, the shares of the company. So they are saying, no, you need to give the PAN number of every person falling under the promoter and promoter group, irrespective he or she has their nil holding. Because if any time he trades, the system will track through the PAN and display the trading done beyond this 10 lakh rupees. And last, that in the event of demise of an individual, ensure the use of late so that it will be easy for them to understand that thing. So these are the basic information which from the shareholding pattern and the PAN numbers filed in SDD, the NSE wants to give, that the company has to be very.
Mohini, the main understanding which market is sometimes missing, that they always try to give shareholding name of the person in the shareholding pattern who has shares. But as per this and as per the law, now NSE is clarifying and SEBI is also clarifying, even if you have no share, but you are coming under the definition of promoter, you have to show your name and mark it as a zero holding or nil holding. That is now compulsory. And till the time you cannot remove your name, till the time you are going for reclassification. So whether this list is 100 or 200%, you have to give. This is the understanding of this particular thing. And till the time your name is not recorded properly through the will or through transmission, you have to write if person is holding shares and he is no more, you have to write late. That is two important thing they have kept. But Moini, I'm just thinking on one loud point of view that people are sending their information to the stock exchange for this is our shareholding pattern. And then they are saying they have checked the difference. So why not company should follow that? First they should feed SDD and then same data they should pass on to the stock exchange. So it can be both. Is it?
SDD, right, sir? In the SDD, the companies have to, as per the SDD, System Driven Disclosure Circular, the company has to immediately update the information. And shareholding pattern is coming at the quarter end. So SDD always be updated information, what we assume that companies are taking care of. So anybody comes, anybody resigns from the this particular category. So that need to be updated on an immediate basis. So shareholding pattern, I think, is a late one. But first, the person has to update the things in the SDD.
Okay,
And
so
accordingly, he has to match the shareholding pattern at the end of the
Moini,
quarter.
my point is you are substantiating that SDD is immediate action. So whatever information you are sending to the stock exchange, send it what you have feed it in the SDD. So your compliance burden will also reduce and you are feeding information and your SDD will be updated.
Correct.
Okay, Ravi, now just tell me, there are some recent cases has taken place and which are very, very important. Sir, can you please explain the nil disclosure issue? I think, Amit, I have explained this. Even if you're not holding shares, you have to give the name of the promoter and promoter group people, those who are as per a shareholding pattern which you are submitting. Yeah, Ravi, there are some cases which has recently taken place. Can you just explain so people should understand that what types of mistake they should not do?
Okay. So
Yeah.
one is the example that I took of Den Networks, in which it was a case of TP trading, that the insider or the connected person who had the UPSI passed on the information unwarrantedly. There was no need to know in that particular case where the information was passed. Based on that information, the recipient traded into the shares, and thereafter SEBI, by investigating into the details, unearthed the entire fiasco of insider trading arising out of the Den and Reliance deal of 2018. and they punished both of them with 10,000 rupees, 10 lakh rupees penalty jointly and severally. Thereafter, there is a case of Quality, which is of 2023. In that case, and this is relevant for listed companies, compliance officers, and their designated persons. What SEBI observed is that there was rampant violations of PIT code of conduct by the designated persons, directors, and at all rungs in Quality Limited. And even though those violations would have been observed by any person of ordinary prudence, the compliance officer did not take sufficient action to penalize them or to hold the persons who were violating the code of conduct accountable for the violations. And therefore, SEBI investigated into the matter. Several defenses were taken. I'm not going into the defenses that were taken because none of them were accepted by SEBI. They said compliance of it is another matter that somebody traded in a layered manner, in a manner that could not be known to a compliance officer or could not be known possibly by any professional. And hence, no action could be taken. But when SEBI observed by their investigation that these violations were indeed observed and yet no action was taken, they said that compliance officer failed to discharge the duty as was enjoined upon the compliance officer under the provisions of the law and rendered a punishment to the compliance officer of 2 lakh rupees because of the mitigating and surrounding circumstances which the compliance officer raised. Because let's say, for an example, MD of a company is violating some code of conduct, PIT code of conduct, by not obtaining timely pre-clearances or by conducting contra trade. Well, one may argue in theoretical space that a compliance officer is expected to issue notice and admonish or administer penalties on the managing director. The realities of world would showcase a different picture. It would be far above the paycheck of a compliance officer if the MD is non-cooperative and is unwilling to subject himself to a fair adjudication by the compliance officer, that he can enforce such a regulation. In that case, two things will naturally happen. Is one, that the person has to become a whistleblower. The compliance officer will have to become a whistleblower at the cost of his job, because then he'll have to sever the way. Now, this is one case where this happened. Next is what transpired in terms of technological development, because the pan freeze and all, it came in 2022, it was implemented in 2023. Please, Moni ma'am, correct if my timelines are a little here and there. But so what I saw as a matter of development in Quality Limited is that by individual action and order, you can fix individual cases. Although penalty sends a message writ large in the market, a deterrent message that others should not also commit violations, but it remains at individual level. The burnt is felt at the individual level. What SEBI has done, and that's tremendous, remarkable, is that they have also been coming with the developments in terms of technological tool being adapted and deployed in the market to resolve these issues, so that the issues are resolved at the policy level, at the systemic level, and the one-off cases are filtered out. So if you make a system which is tech-enabled, pan level freeze, like once that is deployed, the chances of these kind of violations occurring and reoccurring, especially where the difference in power dynamics could lead to, not observing these violations or observing but not doing anything about these violations, as is no room to stay. That has been done away with. So this is one thing. Then there is a case of Shalimar Paints that in that an order was passed, although allegation in that case was that UPSI was in existence when the company was consulting with different law firms, different professionals to raise funds. At the pitch deck stage itself, there was a UPSI because the company was engaging professionals to source capital in terms of in form of debt. And thereafter, the entire load of charges were leveled against the company and the managing director that they did not keep enough internal control systems or followed the system. The systems were not in place. We represented this case, so I won't comment much about it, but you should see the interesting angle involved in this case. And that it is only from that perspective I'm trying to put out this. So a warning letter was issued at the completion of investigation, because while investigating, SEBI did find that the managing director had indeed put in place the internal control systems, and those were also followed. Because UPSI, birth of UPSI, and when it is ought to be disclosed is a very elusive concept. It is not a concept which can be decided in white and black. It's a gray matter. It's a gray area, in my opinion, and it's very elusive. What appears to be UPSI to one mind or one eye might appear perfectly normal or ordinary course to another. And there is usually these debates in boardrooms also within a company, between different groups also, between two different individuals who are holding executive positions. So these are the difficulties. So a little here or little there, the disclosure should not warrant a monetary penalty. Instead, a warning should only suffice. That must have been the view taken by SEBI, and they issued a warning letter in Shalimar instead of going for a penalty. Warning, you may understand it as a yellow card. We are also writing an article or a research paper on this, which will soon come out. So there will, but I will not now go into the details of what a warning letter is. But let's suppose SEBI examined the case and they said we will issue a yellow card rather than a red card, which is a penalty, and they closed the matter. After some time, a show cause notice was issued for the very same matter. Now this time, telling the company as well as the managing director that now we are going to issue a red card. What we did is that we looked around for the jurisprudence, and we found that if for a matter a warning letter has already been issued and there has been no new contravention after the issuance of a warning letter, there could not be administration of a penalty or adjudication of the same case again to impose additional monetary burden, especially when the requirements of compliance were found to be satisfactory after the issuance of warning letter, and there was no new instance of infraction or violation committed by the company. So we argued this alongside many other legal and factual aspects of the case, and successfully and with grace of understanding that prevailed in SEBI, they found force in the arguments advanced by the managing director, whom we represented, and they did not penalize. So this is where I would rest. If there is any other specific point, I would be very eager to explain that also with the help of a precedent if I have anything off the cuff to state.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you very much. Now it's a time to close, so we have to just work out. So, Saket, I will start with you. That what is your overall take on this particular insider trading law, including the new concept which has come? How you are seeing, because the important is SEBI has explained their point of view, but suppose the industry is not able to understand some concept, or they are thinking on this particular place is to matchmaking, to whatever your understanding, whatever their understanding should match out. So when they are coming out with the law should be clearly understandable to the industry. So your point of view.
Okay, so I'll first start with what has already been amended. So trading plan definitely is a welcome step. The only challenge I see there is while carrying out a trade during trading window closure is permitted. The only issue is when the PAN is freezed, the regulator should give some relaxation or some method by which that restriction can be removed for the person who has an approved trading plan. That is the only challenge I foresee. As far as the proposed amendment in definition of connected person is concerned, I would still reiterate my earlier point. We need to understand one thing. If we see Regulation 4, sub-regulation 2, and I would read that out for the benefit of all attendees. In the case of connected person, the onus of establishing that they were not in possession of UPSI shall be on such connected person, and in other cases, the onus would be on the board. So effectively, we need to understand that by widening the definition of connected person, the onus of proving whether the person was in possession or not in possession of UPSI shifts from SEBI to that person. Now, what that effectively means and how does it affect me as a compliance person, as a compliance officer of the company? Suppose tomorrow a distant relative of managing director trades and he is caught in the net by SEBI, and he is not able to prove, that he was in possession or he was not in possession of UPSI. He comes back to MD that you did not tell me. MD will, come back to me that why it was not informed, educated, or guided properly. So that increases my burden as a compliance officer to educate general public, all the designated persons, that this is what is the change, and this has to be a continuous effort for me, not only once, because designated persons in a company will come and go. So effectively, this is increasing my compliance burden. That is all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you very much, Saket. Now, Kunal, you have to say anything.
See, I have already said that by widening this connected person definition, of course, there is a responsibility of the company's compliance officer to educate more and more the person who has been included here in this net. Because ultimately, the purpose is not to be caught in the investigation at the later stage, but to educate more and more people so that even if they come to know about this from some sources, then they don't trade.
Okay.
So that is, yeah.
Moini,
That is more and more education.
one question is there before you give a closing remark. How to identify fiduciary? Is unlisted public company, wholly owned subsidiary of listed company, covered as fiduciary company? Number one. If yes, then SDD required to be maintained by such fiduciary public company. But which information to be stored in SDD? Fiduciary company UPSI or listed companies UPSI? If SDD to be maintained for fiduciary unlisted public company, then what will be the purpose, as fiduciary shares are not listed? One question, but multiple things. Yeah.
So first is, who is fiduciary? So fiduciary means that in a fiduciary position, you are holding the information. So being an unlisted subsidiary of the company, the law itself says that the material subsidiaries are being covered under this particular definition when we are maintaining this SDD. So because if the company is a material subsidiary, that means it is contributing almost 10% to 20% of the total revenue of the consolidated revenue in that company. So your information, your unlisted subsidiary information is important, because it's going to be important for the listed company. So your information is the UPSI, and also if you come across because of some information of a listed company, you're holding listed company, that also information you are possessing in the fiduciary position. So if you are holding any information UPSI of holding company and being a material subsidiary company, your information, you are holding the information on a fiduciary position. So this is the first thing. And with respect to the SDD, so because your information and your holding company information can be maintained in one SDD, which is of listed company. You need not to maintain this information in a separate SDD. Reason being, your designated person, because in the definition of the designated person, your subsidiary designated persons, your employees can also cover under that designated person's list. So
Okay.
it can be easily maintained over there.
Okay. Moini, your comment, last comment.
Sir, from today's discussion, what I feel is that more understanding of this law in the corporate, in the corporate compliance officer, designated person is the requirement. And the way the changes are coming and the practical challenges which the compliance officers are facing in implementing this insider trading regulations, more and more this familiarization programs, more understanding programs and webinars or seminars are required to be conducted by the SEBI in this regard.
Okay, Ravi.
Yes, I think while the intent of bringing these clarifications and amendments are really laudable, what still needs to be done and should be done, in my suggestion, by SEBI is to inspire confidence across industry that these are not just to add more burden of compliance on their shoulder. In fact, no burden is being added, or whatever burden is being added is manageable burden. And it is for larger purpose, larger goal of safeguarding our markets, because the compliance officers are not adversaries of SEBI, they are the extended arms of the regulator. So therefore, that confidence, that dialogue needs to be there. Proper education needs to be there, not in the sense that compliance officer needs to be educated, they are educated. And just that I think that dialogue is somewhere missing, because the feedback I got from Mr. Kunal and Mr. Gupta, they are right in their state to say that it might result in consequences which will add up to compliances ultimately. So that needs to be figured out. And we would know once this law is implemented and on the ground.
You're on mute, sir.
Sorry. So thank you very much, Mohini, Kishore, Saket, Ravi, and Mr. Sanjay Purav, and then Varsha Agarwal, madam. They all have come. Now we got this. And what I will do, I have received various questions, because questions tend to same type. So I have not asked, and time was also short. But my advice to all of you, what is happening if there is a law is coming and you have to interpret it. Now, SEBI is saying on the point of view that we are not asking today that what is this? They are asking tomorrow. Okay, for investigation purpose. They are presuming that UPSI you will not pass on. But there are so many various examples where you don't want to pass UPSI, but indirectly or unintentional, the UPSI is breaking without any intention. So you have to prove this. So it is better that sometime you follow that instruction or advise to your people that what is the best. So in my opinion, whatever new law has come, you familiarize with your director, with your top management team, and the people, those who are coming in the, those who are getting UPSI. So you have to tell them that, bhai, this is a information which I am sharing with you, but no one, including these people, should not trade in the this particular script till the UPSI is there, and then it is very, very clear. So I think familiarization program and communication is the key to this particular aspects which everybody should follow. Various question has come relating to this, that how to do this, what are the things. So the simple point is, one, UPSI should not be shared with anybody. Number two, even if somebody is a breaking, or somebody's some information is leaking unintentionally, then that person is responsible, not you, because he should not trade. But investigator will ask you also that you have done, but he has taken the information and he has played that, it is his responsibility. But even then, the ultimately, to have a better regime, it is advisable, understand the law, communicate to the all the people, those who are connected like this, and tell them or educate them. This is the best way. You may not be required any data, any information, but you may require education to these people, and that I will write to these suggestions to SEBI, and we will do this. So thank you very much once again to all my participants, all my speakers, those who have come and those who have given this. So friends, thank you. The knowledge sharing initiative of corporate professional will continue. And our next webinar is on a very topical subject of Gift City, that people should understand what is Gift City, how it is useful, and Gift City is within the country. There is another offshore and place where you can do trade like a international market, and you will realize that Gift City will be the future opportunity, benefit, and future growth. You should understand, and for that we have invited the Executive Director Pradeep Ramakrishnan of Gift City and various other people, and they will tell us what is happening. And I will request all of you, you must join. This is a future. If you are missing this, you are missing some business, some opportunity, some professional and career growth. So please join this on 27th September, Friday at 4 o'clock. Till then, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.